Greetings and salutations, fellow humans. If you are anything like me, you have seen this dress dozens of times and you absolutely love it, and so you decided to make something inspired by it. Sort of. Also just using fabrics you had available because you're just that kind of person. Anyway, my main inspiration for this fantastic gown here was this funky green thing that I found in the bottom of our costume bin, and I think it was meant for a toddler because it fit me everywhere except for that zipper that refused to budge anywhere above the waistline. So yeah, that needed to get fixed, and I decided to attempt something I've only done once before, which is lacing. So I was going to slit straight down the middle and add some lacing. And I was also going to add a little bit of an underskirt to the whole thing because this thing was nice, but it was also a little too short. So I wanted to keep those fun detailing thingies on the ends, those cute little pleats, but I also wanted it to be, somewhat historical. So yeah, lots of fabric. The other thing I used for the project was some seam binding that I repurposed as some lacing, and I used some scraps of the purple polyester stuff to turn into the loops for my lacing. So yeah, let's do it. First things first, that dress needed to get chopped, and yeah, that was a little bit nerve-wracking. If you've ever cut into a dress before, it's kind of scary, especially if it's like the only one of its kind. So yeah, I don't know, maybe another one of these exists out there somewhere. I hope not. This is kind of ugly. Anyway, so I was kind of toying with the idea of just leaving this open and just putting the lacing right there and just leaving the skirt alone, because it kind of fit me pretty well below the waistline, but other than that, it was just difficult to wear. So, I don't know, I thought about it, but then I just decided to cut all the way down, and it was kind of a rash decision on my part, but you know what? There's no going back. I just eyeballed the whole thing, and to be honest, it turned out pretty darn good. The edges were a little bit wonky, but I'm also not a perfectionist at all. As you will soon see throughout this entire process, I could care less. So yeah, just went ahead and chopped the whole thing in half. It was kind of scary. But I feel like it turned out pretty good. So there is the disemboweled dress right there, and my terrified face. So the next step was to take that polyester fabric and go ahead and turn it into the skirt. So first thing I had to do was just fold over the top edge to get it to the length that I wanted, and then I just cut off that top fold right there. So that created the strips that I used for my lacing and simultaneously shortened the skirt. Reduce, reuse, recycle. Anyway, while you are enjoying my shoddy camera work, I would love to entertain you with details as to how I liken this dress to the Sleeping Beauty dress, or rather the Briar Rose dress. I don't, really. I kind of got the same vibes from it, just the lacing in the front and the kind of floofy, twirliness of the whole out shebang. So yeah. Wait, is that shebang or shebang? I think it's shebang. I don't know. One sec. Yeah, okay, Google doesn't really want to respond to me with that one. Anyway, we'll just call it a shebang. Either way, I absolutely love the original Sleeping Beauty. Don't get me wrong, Maleficent was great, but I really just love the 1959 version. It was just so beautifully executed. And yeah, the costumes are not historically accurate in the slightest, but it's kind of also a fairy tale, so yeah, I don't know. And this dress is also not historically accurate at all. So, if you're trying to look for something to wear to a Renaissance fair where everyone's going to be really picky and they're going to want to know exactly what time frame your outfit is from and whether or not it's used, you used historically accurate sewing methods for it. First of all, don't hang out with a group like that. It's just not good for you. Second, it's not going to work for that. It's just kind of a cutesy, fun, somewhat historical Briar Rose-ish dress. So yeah, I think I explained myself pretty well there. So here I am cutting out a strip of fabric from the bigger strip to turn into the loops for my lacing. However, I did a really, really horrible job of lining it up, and I ended up with one strip way skinnier than the other. So yeah, don't be like me. This has been a very important lesson. Just don't be like me. So then I just went ahead and took the piece that I liked, and I laid it on top of the remaining fabric and just chopped out a piece that more or less matched it. So yeah, there you have it, folks. Problem-solving skills at its finest. Anyway, next I just took that over to the sewing machine and I accidentally sewed the wrong piece. I don't know how I managed to do that, but I grabbed the larger piece and started sewing that, and so I had to fix that. Anyway, yeah, so I just turned the loops, or didn't even turn them. What, I can't speak English today. I folded them in half. There we go, correct terminology. Folded it in half, sewed along the edge, and then I just turned it inside out, as you will see in a moment. Didn't use pens for this because I just didn't feel it necessary to be messing around with sharp, pokey objects while I'm just working on a tiny little project right there. Yeah, anyway, I'm lazy. Also, don't mind that. Yeah, I guess my elbow bumped the camera or something, so yep, I'm a professional. Totally. I have my diploma, just don't have it right now because the guinea pig ate it. Anyway, yeah, so this is just about the easiest way to make little fun ribbons that will match your outfit, unless you are, lucky enough to find a ribbon that matches. If you're making this project and you found a ribbon that matches the rest of your dress, go ahead and use that, and just go ahead, skip over this whole bit here. So I just trimmed the raw edges a little bit, that way I could turn it inside out and not have to deal with a ton of bulky fabric being yanked through itself. So yeah, but again, if you're using ribbon, just skip this step. Also, something I learned about this fabric, it is insanely bulky, and this is probably going to be like a winter costume or something, because it's really tough to turn inside out. I'm just warning you, if you do this, find a nice light fabric. I wanted to say some words here, because it was just really, really difficult, but I didn't end up saying any words, because, yeah, my parents were in earshot, and I also don't know any, so it just caused a minor freak out at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, to put it mildly. Do yourself a favor, don't do this, but if you want to use strong words, go ahead. I didn't use any, because, hashtag homeschooled. Anyway, with my loops turned inside out, I went ahead and wait, why do I keep saying loops? My ribbon things turned inside out, I turned them into loops. That's what I did. I turned them into loops, and then I realized that I had just pinned it directly to the raw edge, and I hadn't folded it over and made it all neat and pretty. I played with the idea of putting a ribbon on top of it, but I didn't really like that idea, so yeah, I just had to go ahead and do it all again. But this will give you a pretty good picture of how I did it. I just did that, like what you see there, and dropping pins and everything. It's just, yeah, great time. I wish I could give you some exact measurements, but like I said, measurements and I just don't get along, so you are on your own, but you're a smart human. Also, the second I turned off the camera, I managed to jab myself in the thumb with a pin, and it hurt, but not that badly, and also I didn't really care if it got on the fabric, because, it's really dark. But anyway, embrace the pain, right? This is just what comes of having a terrifyingly dangerous hobby like sewing. Oh, also, this is a perfect time to interject this story about my grandmother. She accidentally sewed something to her finger once. I don't know exactly how it happened, but, she just, managed to miss all the nerves in her finger or something and just sewed the project to her finger. She was hand sewing, by the way. This wasn't like a freak sewing machine accident. Just somehow, in some way or another, whatever she was sewing got attached to her hand. Yeah. Scary stuff. Anyway, here is the completed loop. I ended up with 7 loops, which was just about perfect for the length of my bodice. But depending on how long your bodice is, go ahead and adjust accordingly. So then I just sewed them onto the bodice, and I decided to go over them a couple of times, just kind of backstitch over it, because I felt like that would make it a little more secure, and with something that's going to have some strain put on it, like lacing, you're going to want to reinforce that as much as possible. That way it doesn't, pop open and just embarrass you in front of all of your super snobby sewing friends. Why are you still hanging out with these people? I thought I told you that it's just not good for you. Go find a group that's a little more encouraging or something. I don't know. Also, if you are one of the people who loves to make things perfectly historically accurate, I'm with you. I get really irritated in movies when they don't make it accurate, but also I don't have time for that. These people have a Hollywood budget. I don't. So yeah, there you go. That's what it looks like. And then I just did the same thing on the other side. Yep. Hashtag twinning. No, wait, that's what you do when there's 2 people doing the same thing. Anyway. And then what I needed to do was just sew the little lining bit that was on there and drop my pincushion while I was at it too. I needed to sew that to the dress because it was not originally attached, of course. I had just, cut straight down the middle of it and disassembled the whole thing. So yeah, I had to fix what I had started. So yeah, I sewed it down directly to the outer fabric, and then I created a rolled hem after that. But first things first, gotta secure it. Okay, and then once I was done with that, I just took it over to my dress form and turned the whole thing inside out and just put it on there. So in order to keep things from sliding around, I just pinned it directly to the dress form, which honestly, I'm sure this is a no-brainer to most of you, but like when I finally decided to start pinning things directly to the form, they stopped moving and it was just like, oh my gosh, I can work without having to stress about things falling off. So yeah, go ahead and critique me for that one. But you know, like I said, I'm not a professional. Did I say that? Okay, I'm not a professional. Anyway, next step was to take that crazy polyester and put it onto the dress to turn it into the skirt. I don't know why I'm obsessed with how this is polyester. I guess it's just because I've only worked with cottons in the past, and I'm like freaking out because I'm actually working with something synthetic. Yay! Yay for plastic. Hey, at least I'm repurposing it, okay? It could be worse. So I just pinned either sides of the fabric to either side of the bodice, and then I just pinned it on either side of the zipper. I didn't want to block the zipper entirely because then I couldn't get the zipper past the waistline, so I'll just show you how I did that later. I just like kind of skipped over it when I was sewing. I'm not sure if I got that on camera, so yeah, I just kind of like skipped over it. Anyway, and then I just pinned it to the sides and created some pleats. This is how I did the pleats. This is kind of cool, but also I apologize for my terrible camera work. Anyway, you just make a loop and then you squish it. Like, that's pretty much all you do. You make a loop and then you flatten it. Please ignore my elbow in the camera. I don't think I realized at the time what terrible angles I was working with, but yeah, hopefully you were able to see that. So here's how I did it. I just took the gigantic loop and I flattened it and pinned it in the middle to create two smaller loops on either side of that. And then I just pinch, squish, and pin. That's kind of all I have to do. This is called a box pleat, by the way, just in case somebody asks you. I don't know. They're kind of cool. And honestly, I find them to be the easiest kind of pleat because, you know, just pinch and squish. That's it. It's like playing with putty. Just pinch and squish. Yeah, anyway. And then I needed to sew the outer skirt fabric, or not the outer skirt, yeah, the outer skirt fabric to the long purple stuff. So yeah, that's just how I did it. So the tricky bit with this here was I had to sew the fabric directly to that weird little serged seam that connected the original bodice to the original skirt, which was insanely tricky, but it's, yeah, you know. Make do and mend, I guess. And it turned out pretty good, to be honest. There's my brother making his YouTube debut. Yeah. Anyway. Can't have a camera out in this household without everybody wanting to come and stick their faces in it. Yeah, so anyway, I just went along and removed pins as I went. I am not the kind of nutcase who sews over pins. Sorry, Mom. Anyway. Just, yeah, make sure the fabric stays nice and straight while you're doing this, otherwise you could end up with some really squirrely pleats. And also, this was a butt ton of fabric. Like, I was working with so much fabric right now, it was insane. I just had to keep moving yards and yards of it. It wasn't even that bad, but, you know, for me, it was a lot. So, next, after any lacing, here we go. Yeah, so I took that seam binding that I repurposed, you know, as I was saying, reduce, reuse, recycle, and plus it's vintage, and I just thought that was really cool. I threaded it through the loopies. So one thing that I learned is that if I just pinned the middle of it to the dress form, that I was able to, you know, keep both ends of it straight for a while, and that was really handy. So here you go. This is just kind of how I do it. I just took the left strand and I went through the right, and then through the left again, and then took the other one, went through the right and the left again, and then the right, and then I went through the left again. That was just kind of how it went. It's just you go through two loops with one strand, and then before you know it, you're done. And it creates this really cool crisscross pattern. And technically, you could also do this spiral lacing, but I don't really like spiral lacing. Spiral lacing was also not really uncommonly used until, spiral lacing. I know how to speak English. Spiral lacing was the most common form of lacing until the 1850s. Wow! Okay, I do know how to speak English. It's just been one of those days. Okay, so anyway, just even out your lacing, make sure it looks all nice and pretty, and then you just tie up the ends and you're just about finished. So yeah, you could just really see the dress coming together at this point. Then I just had to hem the bottom of it, which was a lot of fabric to hem, and I realized afterward I had accidentally sewn it, like, backwards. So yeah, it was like the hem was on the outside. Yeah, so after all that stress, it was definitely time for a tea break. So I was kind of torn between the Darjeeling and the afternoon blend from Fortnum and Mason, and just because it was afternoon, I decided to go for the afternoon blend. You know, Darjeeling is great. It's been called the champagne of tea at times. That's an inside joke, by the way. Anyway, if you haven't gotten a chance to try Fortnum and Mason tea, you need to do it. Oh, hello, lovely shot of my elbow again, because they supplied tea to the Queen of England, and I can tell you why, because it is like amazing. I don't know how I lived before I got this stuff. Also, I don't know how I functioned with this cute little teacup hybrid. Like, this thing is fantastic. One pot creates like just 1 cup of tea, or no, 2 cups of tea. So it's great for, if you're just chilling out in the afternoon, you want something fun. This is just amazing. Yeah, I honestly don't know how I functioned without it, but they're just so cute. And no, I am definitely not trying to get you to buy this. This is not a sponsor, but I wish. Also, check out this cute little still life I did. Okay, so after that, I just took the fabric and I folded it over the right way. Actually, this took 2 attempts, but this is just attempt number 1. And I used a cute little zigzag stitch with the contrasting thread because I thought that would look nice, and I was too lazy to change thread colors. So there you have it. Yep, lazy sewing at its finest. Anyway, here's the moment you've all been waiting for. Yeah, I would definitely do this again. I really enjoyed it. I'd give this probably like a 8 out of 10. So much fun to wear. Really, really great. And I loved the cute cottagecore vibes. So yeah, let me know what you want me to make next, and I will ignore that information because I have a mind of my own and I just do whatever I want. So yeah, thanks for watching.